Good evening and welcome back to Broken Not Shattered. Today's show is a very important show to me. It's something that I've spoken several times about in the course of my career in, for lack of a better word, broadcasting, and that is gun violence. In America alone, 14 million people bought guns in the year 2023. Over 14 million people bought guns in the year 2023. And statistics have shown over and over again that the issues of guns in America can be very overwhelming. Believe it or not, over 42,000 people died of gun related injuries last year alone. 42,000 people in the US died of gun related injuries in the United States of America alone just last year. And so today, my guest, a great guy who has been through that experience, is here to speak about his journey, his recovery, his resilience, and his repurpose. Welcome to Broken Not Shattered from wherever you are. My guest today, Mr. Dennis Brown. What's up, Dennis?
Hey,
Welcome to
how you
Broken.
doing?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just a beautiful day.
That's good. And tell us, where are you based out of?
I'm in Dallas, Texas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, way to go,
Yes,
brother.
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
That's good. So, Dennis, tell us your story. How was life for you growing up in Dallas, Texas?
Oh, I come from a two-parent household. I'm the youngest of three boys, and it was a typical good upbringing. We never did without no holiday or Christmas. There was always food on the table, and I was always outgoing kid. Got a Boy Scout, Cub Scouts, and was very active and very just a young kid growing up.
Right.
A mama's boy, and me being the youngest. So yes, I was a mama's boy, and
Go
our
ahead, Dennis.
upbringing was always instilled the principles to work for what we want. So in them days, we started working at 15 years old.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Restaurants.
that's
Yeah,
right.
and the principles of working and having a work history and saving. So that was very, important in my upbringing. That I watched my dad work every day, and he took care of my mom, which my mom worked also. But I watched my dad do work ethics, and I was very impressed.
Wow. Wow. So you grew up in a household where both parents were very much involved, great work ethics, started working at a very young age, mama's boy, but something happened when you turned 22.
Yeah, when I was 22, on the east side of Dallas, it was a party going on, and I was there at the party. And all I heard was at 22 years old, I was invited to the party through another friend of mine, and it was in an area of town where I'm not, killing too much familiar with, and I one of them outside block parties, and gunshots rang out. All I knew was to just run, get away. And gunshots rang out, and then still I found myself flat on my back. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up at all. And uh, I was scared. And I didn't know what was happening with my body. I bent down there and pinched my leg. I couldn't feel my leg. And the bullet had went under my armpit, pierced my lung, and severed my spinal cord at the T7 level. And I remember the ambulance coming. They put me in the back of the ambulance. They rushed me to the hospital. And I was going through surgery because my lung was filling up with blood. And they had to put a catheter there to drain the blood out. And I made it through. I made it through that. And I was in ICU. And I'll never forget that moment. The doctor came in there, and the doctor told me, I remember these words exactly. He said, I would never walk again.
Wow.
It was like the whole world stood still.
Wow.
And I just looked at him. But he said it's good news. And I'm like, what's the good news? He said you will go through extensive therapy, and he'll say you'll never miss a step. But at that time, I didn't understand what he mean by never miss a step. So here I am, 22 years old, laying on my back with a spinal cord injury at the T7 level, and 3 days in ICU, and here I went shipped me out to the rehab, Beta Rehabilitation Institute in Dallas, very good rehab, and I started my therapy. And I remember the first day of therapy that they brought. My mom had brought a bunch of warm-ups, and the therapist came in. And I had already dressed myself, and she said, "Who dressed you?" I said, "I did. I just put one foot in there and the other leg up in there and put it up." She said, "You're a fast learner." I was determined to learn.
Wow.
And at the time I had a neck brace to go from neck down to my pelvis to keep my spine straight. And I started undergoing my therapy every day: occupational therapy, physical therapy, recreation therapy, psychological therapy, to understand the conditions of having a spinal cord injury.
Right. So what are the conditions of having a spinal cord injury?
One of the conditions of having a spinal cord injury is adjusting to this lifestyle. You have to, it's a lifestyle. And it's easy to say adjusting to it and accepting it, but do a person wholeheartedly accept it? And when I was in rehab, I had a long door mirror, and I would avoid looking myself in that mirror. I didn't want to see myself in the wheelchair. I avoided that mirror looking at myself in the wheelchair. Until one day I finally saw myself and I just broke down in tears. And I prayed to God and I asked God to give me the strength, give me the self-perseverance to get through this year, and the willpower and the courage. And through the years, it was so difficult. I got depressed when I was discharged from the rehab. I went home, lost some friends. They stopped coming by. I stayed in the house for a couple of years, and I didn't want to venture outside. And I was just one day, the significant change in my life is that here I am looking at TV, and I saw that DeVry University commercial. Would you like a career? And I said, I have to do something in my life.
Wow.
Because when I was walking, I was a construction worker,
right,
and worked various, forklift jobs. And I went to DeVry University. I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, can you enroll me in this? That's what you want to do?" And my dad, I said, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." And my dad went to the campus, and I enrolled in there, and I started, obtaining an associate's degree in network systems administrator.
Wow.
And at the time when I was going through college, I worked various jobs like telemarketing, customer service, and to gain a work history. And because I'm very active, I couldn't just sit at home. And not just only I obtained my associate degree in network system administrator, but I got my CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Administrator, my A+, my Network Plus, which opened a door for me to work for Verizon Fiber Optics.
Wow. Hold that thought. So basically, in spite of your injury that you found that you were now in a wheelchair, you refused to allow that to hold you down. And you decided to go to college, go to university.
Yes.
Learn a skill that will help you find yourself working for Verizon, which is one of the largest service both internet and telephone providers here in the US.
Yes, sir.
And you've been working for them till now?
No, I don't work in them, but I worked there for a total of like 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
And but I was doing telemarketing, doing sales, but actually Nextel, the two-way radio. And I was making a killing on that. I was like, wow. And they made me the telemarketing manager and everything. And I remember that day I left work and I saw Verizon, and I went in there and I filled out the application, but they wasn't hiring at the time. And I had my resume. And the lady wanted to hire me. And I went on about my business, and about a month later, I was going down 635 and I saw another Verizon. And I went in there, and the same lady that interviewed me at the other Verizon, she was there. She said, "You got your resume?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Go get it. They hired." And I took a networking test and passed it this age. She said, "Are you done?" I said, "Done." And I created Verizon. I created DeVry University for giving me the skills and knowledge
Wow.
to excel at Verizon Fiber Optics, because I started out as a as customer service technical support. And one day I came in, my supervisor told me she don't want me to log in. She want me just to roll around and help everybody else that's having troubleshooting calls.
Wow.
And what I did, I rolled around with radio, and if they were having troubleshooting calls, I assisted them, or if the call was going over the average handle time, I tell them to transfer the call to me, and I worked on the call personally.
Wow. Wow.
It
So all
was
of
a
a sudden
spirit.
you became a leader. So
I,
that
did,
means,
I felt very independent. There was at that moment, I knew when that doctor told me that, when he said, you would never miss a step, and that was it. That was my moment, and it hit like a light bulb went out my head and said, I never missed a step.
never missed a step. Wow.
Never missed a step, and
So they
it was
gave you
very
all the
inspirational.
support. They gave you all the support you needed to get to where you needed to get to with the therapy. You determined on your own that you were going to do something with your life, and you took this path. Now here you are now. How many years has that been in a wheelchair?
It's been 36 years. February the 24th of 1988, I became paralyzed.
So you've been paralyzed since the last 36 years?
36 years. I haven't walked. I had 36 years in a wheelchair. It's going on 37 years in February. It'll be 37 this year. And it's been a journey. It's been a lifestyle. It's been good times. I had bad times, and I do kind of go into a moment sometimes. If I wasn't in this wheelchair, where would I be?
Correct.
I go, and I don't like to dwell on the if and regrets and shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I harbor a lot of animosity for the guy that shot me. I harbor a lot of hatred and anger.
Anger, yeah.
And I realized that for me to grow and excel, I had to forgive him. And I had to as well forgive myself.
Correct.
And once I forgave myself and do away with all that crap that's holding you down, you can start seeing the beauty in the wheelchair. It's beauty.
Wow.
And when people were staring, they ain't staring at the chair. They staring at a testimony. They staring at the beauty of this guy is independent, and he ain't letting nothing keep him down.
Didn't miss a step.
They missed a step. I see anybody say I haven't missed a step.
Nah, that's a big testimony. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, Dennis, you and I are gonna talk about the journey so far. How it's been, and because of where you found yourself, what you've chosen to do yourself, inspiring others in the community, the way you live.
Okay.
And the power of obviously your network and the social media. So we're just gonna take a short break. Today, my guest is Dennis Brown from Dallas, Texas, where the Cowboys actually live and reside. And Dennis is someone who's been impacted by, gun-related violence. His story is recovery. His story is resilient. His story is repurpose. So we'll be back in a few minutes with Dennis. Welcome back to Broken Not Shattered. My guest today is Dennis Brown. If you missed the first portion, go back and hear what Dennis said in the last 15 minutes when we were actually talking about his journey so far and how he has not missed a step. Dennis, I'm going to take that word. I'm going to run with it. That word is powerful. You would not miss a step. Tell us the journey so far, Dennis, because I know it can't be easy. At 22, you were all a regular young guy, went to a party, and your whole life changed for the last 36, going on 37 years. How has that journey been? Encourage and inspire someone out there.
So that journey have been a learning. It have been a self-growth. It have driven me closer to God. And the older I get, I start putting value on my health. And it was a journey that over the years, it went so fast. And before I knew it, it's 36 years. And I look back. When I look back, I laugh now because I was my own worst enemy at one time.
Mm.
I was my own worst enemy because I hadn't wholeheartedly accepted it. And the person that shot me, he went on to prison. And I would receive a phone call about every 3 years from the Board of Pardons and Parole. He was coming up for parole. And they kept setting him off. And about that last time I told them, they asked me how do I feel. I made a victim impact statement. And I told them, nothing can make me walk again. The guy, he did his time. I forgive him. And if y'all choose to release him, I have no problem. I have no problem. You have to move on. You can't let this wheelchair weigh you down.
I like that word. You got to move on, because moving on is part of life. When
Yeah.
one door closes, another one opens. When one window shuts, another window opens. Also, life is a journey, and we just have to move on. Um,
Yeah.
in the Nigerian pilot, we say we move, regardless of what's going on. We move. So
Move. I
we
like
move.
that.
And you have shown that you are actually moving regardless. So what are you doing with yourself now, Dennis?
I do motivational videos. I realized that with this social media out there, Instagram and all that Facebook platform, there is a lot of people that's stuck in a house with disabilities and in wheelchairs, and they don't have a clue. They need somebody that's an inspiration to be a motivation to them. The calls that I get, people call me in my inbox, and it makes really they inspire me. It might sound selfish, but they inspire me to keep being an inspiration. And the biggest question that I get, and they tell me, what advice that I have for them. And if they're young, most guys are young, go to school, go to college. That's something they can't take away from your education. You're gonna need that.
That's right.
And everything, and we sometimes go and get on conversations about medication and everything. And I'm no doctor. I have no degree, so I don't try to. I tell you my suggestions. I tell them certain medication to avoid because this medication you're gonna be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, and you don't want anything to be toxic to your liver or kidney. So
Right.
your number one health, your number one wealth is your health,
That's right.
and just live your life. It's a
Right.
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's a beautiful lifestyle once you wholeheartedly accept it. And I say the word wholeheartedly because at one time I thought I accepted it, but I'm now wholehearted. This is my life. And to speak about September the 3rd last year when I was in that rental car and it had caught on fire, I found myself trapped in a wheelchair.
Hold on, Dennis. Let me get let's set up this thing so my audience can actually get the storyline, because I know you told me the story too, and I was like completely blown away. All right, so despite the fact that you have been wheelchair bound for almost over 30 something years, you drive.
Yes.
Right? You drive. Do you drive?
Yes, that's right.
You drive. Okay. So last year something happened while you were driving.
It was a rental car.
Correct.
At that time of the year, I'm not going to say the rental agency name, but I was in a rental car. And rental companies, they have a handicap equipped car for people in wheelchairs.
Correct.
And I have been ridden with this company for 4 or 5 months every month. And that particular month, when I rented that car, and I noticed that how many miles it had on the dashboard, 43,000 miles, and I know that they don't rent cars with that many miles on it. And I brought it to their attention, and the guy just told me, don't worry about the car, we know about the car. And I was on my way home one Sunday morning, September the 3rd, and the dashboard started blinking, going crazy. The power steering went out, and I pulled over, thinking it was overheating. And suddenly the car engulfed in flames at the hood. And immediately, here I am, going into, to get out. My first thing is get out wheelchair. people would say this to us. When I first did being a prayer preacher, we rely on our wheelchair. That's
Right.
our mobility. That's our legs.
That's your legs.
And how many times I got my wheelchair out of a car? For this particular moment, my wheelchair was stuck. It was on a seatbelt back there, and I had to lean back and try to untangle it. And at the same time, I'm looking forward at this fire. And then I would never forget. It was like the angel, God sent an angel to me. Her name is Tammy Arrington. She was about of Mississippi, and she was just visiting at the house I was parked in front of, and she looked out of her living room window and saw the car on fire. And she swung the door open, and she said, "Get out, get out." I said, "I can't, I'm in a wheelchair." And she went around to the passenger side, the back door, got my wheelchair, and she tried to assemble in my wheelchair. She couldn't get the wheels in. So she dragged me out.
Wow.
When she dragged me out, the whole floorboard caught on fire. And yes, the whole floorboard, man. Here I am, my pants down because I've been dragged out the car, and I'm like, in shock. She's in shock, and she got the chair together.
When you left that place, the car caught on fire.
Yes.
Wow.
And
so, split second, you could have been all engulfed in flames.
I could have been engulfed in flames. If one counts to her. If she was a few seconds later, I would have been engulfed in flames. It was God. It was God that sent her to me.
It was God.
An angel to rescue me. And the thing about it though is that she don't live there. She was visiting a friend. She lived in Mississippi.
Oh wow.
And we went in her. Yeah, right. And that morning she was just up, and we went in her garage to close the door because we thought the car going to explode. Until the firemen get there, they put the fire car out, and we open up the garage door, we come out, and I had called my mom to come pick me up because I lived 2 blocks away, and she was in shock, and I never got her name. I went home, I showered, I stood in the shower for hours trying to wrap my head around what happened. And I told my mom. My mom said, "What happened?" I explained to my mom what happened. And she went around there and met the young lady and got her name.
Wow.
And that was on a Sunday. So Tuesday came around, Channel 4 News called me and said this inspiration story that a lady rescued you. And she saw the story on Channel 4 News and contacted them.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how I found out. And then we was on People Magazine, we was on Inside Edition, FaceTime, we was on them platforms. Right. And our last platform we was on was the Sherry Shepherd Show. I wanted to meet her face to face because I never met her face to face after she pulled me out of that burning car.
Wow. Wow.
And that moment there, that I knew I had a purpose in life. Survive a gunshot wound. And I knew that in that burning car, I knew there's something more God got to have for me to do.
That's correct. You can say that again, brother.
Yeah, and I had to use what I have, being in this wheelchair, to be an inspiration and motivation for people that are looking for hope, change.
Wow, you have been very inspirational this afternoon. For those of us who are in the London or the UK, I know it's evening for you. Those of us in Africa, I know it's evening for you. But for us here in the US, it's still evening for us too, or actually it's night for those guys out there, because they're like 5-6 hours ahead of us. And we have audience from all over the world, Dennis, listening to what you're saying and this powerful story you're going to share. Dennis, if I was to say, take a few minutes, like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and speak into the camera and tell someone who's in the same position you are, or maybe say 20 years ago or 30 years ago, what would you say to them right now, Dennis?
I would advise them to tell them that for every disability you have the ability to overcome that disability. And you can just do one thing right, you're needed in the world. And don't let that wheelchair or your disability disable your spirit. Don't let it disable your spirit. Don't let it rob you of your joy. There's a life out there in a wheelchair, or whatever you're struggling with, or whatever you're going through. You just have to believe in yourself and believe in God.
Wow. I guess that's where you get your strength from. Do you believe?
Yes, I believe in God. I mean, matter of fact, that I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of the tongue. You speak the law of attraction. You speak into what exists. You speak positivity, positivity will happen.
Amen.
Your words and thoughts are powerful.
That's true. I agree. The Bible even said that there's power in the tongue. The power of life and death lies on our tongue. So
Yes,
it's now a choice on how you want to speak into your own existence. It's a mindset thing. It's a spiritual thing. You got to voice and speak out with that tongue, life, or you might speak death. It's your
yes.
choice on which one, how you want to choose to live your life. I'll inspire everybody here to just, at this time, make sure you speak life into every situation where you find yourself. Whether you're knocked down, rejected, um, shot, found yourself in a situation where you can't walk, can't talk, just believe that you can trust God and speak life into your situation wherever you are. Dennis, you have been an inspiration. But before you go, buddy, today is Sunday. You have some big plans.
Yes, I have big plans of me being in a wheelchair. I have met my soul.
Someone just asked a question. How do you deal with your relationships? Do you have relationships being bound in a chair?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I met my fiance Tammy Davis. I met her, at the Galleria Mall, and we talked on the phone for a whole year. She became my friend first, and she is my best friend today, my soulmate, and my fiance. And living in a wheelchair with her, she see the wheelchair, but she doesn't. She allow me to have my independence. She give me my space, and she's more than just, a soulmate. She's God sent. Just got sent. And today, I'm proposing to her.
Whoa!
At a restaurant. I'm proposing. I had a ring and everything. I'm proposing to her, and I'm excited. I'm excited because it's time that I've settled down my life with a wife, and I read Proverbs 18:22, and it kept on hitting me in my head. Proverbs 18:22 says that he who finds a good wife finds a good thing and finds favor from the Lord.
Say that again slowly.
Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a good wife finds a good thing and receive favor from the Lord.
So it's not just he that finds a wife, it's he that finds a good wife.
Good wife. I say good wife.
It's
not just any wife, a good wife. And
that's who finds a good thing and then finds favor from God.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you,
Dennis. I wish you and your fiance a wonderful, wonderful, great, fantastic time. If you invite us to the wedding, we'll try to make our way out there to Texas and support you. If not, we got all our love whenever you decide to do it. This is a joy and a pleasure. Let's stay in touch after this show.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and see how life takes both of us. But I know that my audience who are watching you right now will definitely be super excited to know that you've turned the situation around and you've made the best out of it. As we begin to sign out from this show, I just want all our audience to please bear in mind that you can subscribe on any of our channels on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you find us on the BNS podcast. We're now on Spotify. Please go ahead and click like and also click the notification button so you know when we're coming on. This is an inspirational platform that we have used consistently and we have grown over the years. I want to thank my team who are always there in the background. I want to thank members of our audience who have been very faithful to us, especially when the early starting days when we're starting. Your encouragement, your inspiration has brought us to where we are. And we know that we have big plans for big things. And just like Dennis said, we will not miss a step. Dennis, thank you for joining us today on Broken Not Shattered. On behalf of the entire team, I want to end with these three words: love, peace, and more grace. Everywhere you go, just bear those words in mind. That's what I stand for. And that's what this platform stands for: love, peace, and more grace. See you guys same time next week on Broken Not Shattered on the BNS podcast. Dennis.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you.